Many of you feel like you need closure. This is something that lots of you have talked about. You feel like, if I don't get closure, I can't let go of this. So I want to talk a bit about closure with you. It's important, and I want you to understand some things. There's a difference between closure and letting go. One, you have no control over whatsoever, and the other is something that you have complete control over. So we can think that closure, and many of us do think that closure is going to help us to understand what's happened. We think maybe it'll help us feel more peaceful, it might help us feel more accepting, and it might help us move on because we now will be in a place where we go, okay, the relationship is over. Many of us see it as completion, a bit of a release, of the entanglement and the messiness of the relationships. But what happens to us when we don't get closure? And I think this is really important. So anybody here who's like, I really need closure, Debbie, though, I really need closure. I want you to understand something. For people who believe that they need closure, they tend to have lingering pain. They have obsessive thoughts. They can get stuck in the past, and a lot of negative beliefs really come up and start to take over. I'm really sorry to tell you this, but very, very few of you will get closure. Many of you will never get closure, and you still have to find a way forward in spite of that. It doesn't matter that you want it, and I don't mean that in a rude way. What I mean is, it doesn't matter, because the other person is the one who decides whether you get it or not, and they may have decided they're not giving it to you. You have zero control over that. It's really important for you to be able to get comfortable with the fact that you may never get closure. Accepting that you may never fully understand why things have ended is a good thing for you. It will help you focus on self-care. It's going to allow you to feel and to process all of your feelings, and it's going to help you to begin the process. If you tell yourself you cannot start to move forward without closure, you may stay stuck for a very long time. I know, how Debbie, how do I bloody let go? How do I move forward with that closure? Well, you can try journaling. You can try attending workshops like this. You might want to talk to a couple of trusted friends about it. You need to work through the process. You have to do that. It's challenging, but it's really important as you move forward. It isn't easy to let go of somebody we love. Just because somebody goes doesn't mean the love just vanishes, or it just doesn't, there's this immediate release and we're like, oh, I don't love that person anymore, it's fine. We are still in love with them. We still care about them. We still want them in our lives. They may have made the decision to end the relationship. Some of you have made that decision, and it still hurts, right? So just because we choose to not be with somebody, or they choose not to be with us, doesn't mean that that love that we hold in our heart for them vanishes immediately. It just doesn't. There's a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and a lot of grief that we have to process as we move towards the relationship coming to its completion. Some of us might start to think about the future. When somebody leaves, it's like, oh my God, I thought I had this mapped out. I thought I knew where I was going and what I was doing and how I was getting there and what was going to happen next. And suddenly the rug is pulled from underneath us, and it's like, it's going to happen now. We get stuck in this cycle of fear. We might be afraid of being alone. We might be afraid about our financial future. We might be afraid about our relational future with our kids, our in-laws, the friendships that we might have had. We might get scared about getting back out there again and being hurt again. So there are lots and lots and lots of fears that we can get stuck in. And we're going to talk more about fear and how to manage that as we go through the workshop. Some of you are in a different place. Some of you are in a really angry place, which is perfectly fine. It's fine to be angry, but you need to understand something. If you're sitting in a set of beliefs that says, this is unfair, this shouldn't be happening to me, you will get into quite a strong negative loop of telling yourself that nothing good is going to happen for you. And the core beliefs that you have around that are going to really keep you stuck. This oftentimes will leave us feeling really helpless and hopeless. It's not a good place to be, girls. We need to start to question these core beliefs about what we think about what's happening to us and why. Many times, and often in this group, people will talk to me about what they did to you. He did this, she did that, and you will focus on what they did and how it's impacted you. You know, here's the thing. If we stay focused on what they did to us, we will lose sight of this moment. And what happens when we're focused on what they did to us, we will swim around in the hurt and the sadness, and we'll get nowhere fast. It's like a dog chasing its tail. You will not get where you need to go. I'm not saying what they did was okay. I'm saying that focusing on what they did to you and sitting in that space is going to keep you stuck. Some of you are questioning reality. Some of you are like, was this really real? Like, I was with this person for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, some of you 40 years. You knew this person. You knew everything about this person. And now you're sitting going, was it all a lie? Like, the deception, the betrayals, was this all a lie that I believed for all these years? You know what? When they loved you, they really loved you. And it was real. And when they ended the relationship and they left you, that was also real. The two can be together at the same time. What you experienced was real. It's real. And then they changed their mind. And they want something else. And there's tons of reasons why that happens. And we can talk about that more. I want you to understand something, and I want you to really take heart in what I'm about to say. That feeling of pain, that feeling of deep, deep, deep grief about this relationship being over, grief is love that has nowhere to go. Okay, I want you to listen to that and really let it sink in. Imagine you loved somebody for 20 or 30 years. That's a lot of love. That love did not vanish. When the person left, that love is there. The grief that you are feeling is love that has nowhere to go. Understand that feeling that you hate is the love inside of you that wants to be somewhere, and it's not going there anymore.